Hi guys, Melissa here, TCT Crafts. Today we're going to make something a little different. We are going to make a little Christmas table centerpiece using this really pretty red bowl vase. I'm not sure what you want to call it. I actually had gotten this. It had real flowers in it, and so I saved the container. Has a little lid that we're going to put in. So I thought it was super cute little container, so I kept it. And what I have already done is a couple weeks ago I used some gaps and cracks, some foam, and I sprayed it in here and let that dry. So it is gaps and cracks on the inside. You could use foam if you wanted to use like the floral foam. You could use that too. So what I've done is I've just basically, I went upstairs to my supplies and I just pulled out a bunch of scrap sprays and picks that I have, and I'm just going to use the scraps to fill this in. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with this frosted pine spray. This did come from the shop last year. I think we may still have a few in the shop, but I'm not sure. So this was just, I had one left over in my stash. So we're going to use that and try to find my bolt cutters. Here we go. I'm going to cut this into pieces because obviously this is a small table arrangement, so we don't want stuff sticking way up here. So I'm just going to cut these down. And we're going to kind of give them a bend. And let me see if this is still, yeah, that's still going to be too long. So I'm going to cut this actually in about half. So we're going to get lots of pieces out of this one pick. I don't need the pine cones, so I'm going to take those off. We'll save them for something else. Put those over there. Okay, so I'm going to cut each one of these stems and then just cut it again in half. Or close to half. And that'll give us several. Now this one looks a little shorter, so I may not cut it in half. We'll see. Just going to leave it for now. And then the same thing with this one. This little the little side pieces were a little bit shorter, so I don't know that we're going to need to cut that. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. I'm going to cut this little pine cone off. Just going to kind of get some placement before I hot glue these in. And I have to keep in mind that this little lid is going to sit to the side. So I really don't want it too much higher than that. So I think that piece is actually going to be too long. Let me cut it down. That's better. Just kind of get my placement on these. I'm just bending these down. We're just going to go around the outside. Once I'm sure I like it, then we'll add some glue. Give those a bend. Going all the way around, just sticking it down in the foam, kind of bending the branches down. pine cone off of this one. Perfect. Okay, I think that's going to work out perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and take and put some hot glue on this and stick this down in the foam. That way you can see where our little lid is going. And then I'm going to add some glue down in each of those little holes. Where I stuck the pine. Okay, perfect. So I've got one little piece. If we need a filler later, we can add it. So I've kind of got those. That's kind of just our filler around the outside. Now we'll start to fill it in. So I have some of these. I brought two different berry ones. I think I may use the frosted berry. So I'm going to cut this up. Into pieces. This spray actually came from, I think it was Hobby Lobby last Christmas, but it's really pretty. It's got the frosted berries on it. So again, I don't want them too tall because this is a small arrangement. So I'm going to go in between where we had the little pine sprays, just sticking it in my glue pot. We're just going to add these in between each of those pine sprays. Cut this down just a hair. Dipping it in my glue pot. You could put it in and get your placement and add the hot glue later like I did before if you wanted. I'm just committing and we're just going to go with it. So make sure the berries are going to fit in this one. This one's a little long. Okay. Add some glue. Get another one. Again, I'm just going in between where I place those pines and adding these little berries. And I went ahead and left the leaves on there just because it's going to help hide some of that center. Some of that foam, but you could take the leaves off if you didn't like them. I've gone all the way around the side. I'm going to put one in the center, or two in the center on either side of that pine that we added. So I've got that one down in there, and let me do the other side, and then I think I'm going to do one kind of in the center. and then I'll flip it around and I'll show you what we have so far. Okay, so far, this is what we have. We've just got the greenery and the berries. And I think I want to have it I want this lid to kind of go off to the side just a little bit, so I'm just trying to make sure where my front's going to be. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for now. If we need more of it, then I will get it in a minute. I have, like I said, I was just grabbing scraps. I have these 2 berry clusters. We may add those in. Let me see. Let me make sure it's just 2. Yes, it's just 2. So what I'll do is I'm going to kind of put them one right about there in the front. All right, and then I'm going to do one sort of diagonal back here towards the back. All right. Should have got my turntable. Then we could have just turned it. That's okay. Okay, I think before I get too much further, I want to make just a really simple bow. Let me get a little. So I have a little wire that was saved from, I don't know, some project. It's just one of these little wires. So I'm going to use this to put my bow on so that we have something to stick into the foam. And then I'm going to get a little bit of, I have this brown wire so that way I can tie off my bow. So I have some of that. We're just going to make a simple 2-loop bow. I'm going to attempt to make it by hand. If you've watched me before, you know that this is not my forte, but let's give it a try. This one shouldn't be too hard since it's just 2 loops. Maybe I can do it. Okay. Let me make sure my loops are about the same size, and they are. I'm going to take my little brown wire that I got. Make sure it's in the center. Just twist this off. Fix my tails, my loops. And cut this. We'll dovetail it in a minute. Okay, so I have that wrapped around, and now I'm going to take and wrap it around this little wire that I got. We'll add some glue on it too, but I want to wrap it around there. This way we have something to use to poke into that foam. Okay, so I've twisted that around there pretty good, and I'm going to add just a touch of glue, just to make sure it doesn't fall off. Okay. And I know I'm going to cut this because we don't want it sticking up too high. I'm going to let this dry for just a second before we move on. While that's drying, let's see what else we're going to put in here. I think I want to add some of these little jingle bells branches. So I'm going to cut these down. These we did have in the shop. I think we still have some. But they're super fun. They're just little frosted branches with the little jingle bells on them. So I'm just cutting it down. Let's do a couple more pieces. Let's do 5. I like to work in odd numbers for some reason. Okay, so we've got 5 pieces of this. So I'm going to start in the center. Push that down in the foam. This one's going to go more towards the front. I cut this down just a little bit. This one's going to go back opposite of this other one. Make sure I'm getting it down in that foam. Okay, and I'm going to put one towards the back. I'm going to get my glue gun in there just since I had to kind of pick it up and move it. Okay, and I've got one other piece. I think we're going to have it come down towards the front. This. Cute. Okay, this is what we have so far. Super pretty. Now let's add our bow. Before I stick that in there, let's cut some dovetails. I'm actually going to take a piece of this ribbon just to clean up the center. So I'm going to take like half of it. And then fold it on top of itself. And then go around the center just to cover up where we put that wire. And then tie it in the back. Do a double knot. There we go. And then I'll cut these off so you don't see it. Okay, now we're going to stick it down in there. You can basically just kind of play around with your bow and see exactly where you want it. I'm just kind of tucking it down in there. You could definitely leave the bow out if you didn't care for the bow. Play with my tails here. Okay, so here we have our bow. We're almost done, believe it or not. What else I have? I have these 2 scraps. Let's just go ahead and add them. This is like a little red, some little red berries. And these are sort of like white silver berries. So let me cut these down. Again, these are scraps, so these are perfect little things to do with scraps. This one I'm actually not going to use. It only has one flower. The rest of it's fallen off. So we'll have 2 red ones. And I don't like the green stems on these, so I'm cutting these off. I think this bush I probably got at Walmart or somewhere. So we have 3 of the white and 2 of the red. Perfect. So still have our odd placement. And I'm just going to stick these down in there. Just adding a little bit of filler. Let me put a silver one there in the middle. And let's do red on this side over here. Add silver back here. I think I'm going to add one right in front of this bow, coming out the front. I can get it down in the foam. There we go. So that's what we have so far. I don't think I had brought these, but I don't think I'm going to use these. So I'm going to set those aside. And the last thing I have, just to add a little bit of glitter, because we all love glitter, I have these sprays. I don't know if they're honey locust sprays. We have them in the shop. We got them in a couple different colors, but this is a red glitter. So I'm just going to add a few pieces of this. This one I'm actually in the back going to need a longer piece, so I've got to get down in that floral foam. Let me see if this is going to be too long. No, that'll actually be good. Okay, I'll get another longer piece for the back. Just because we're having to try to work around this little lid and get down in that foam. I think I'm going to stick this one and then use the glue gun. Okay. And I'm going to do a little piece, if I can, coming out the back, just in between those two. Add the glue. Okay. See if we can stick one coming out this side. And I'm just giving them a little bit of a bend so that they're not sticking straight up. Let's do one in front of the bow. See if I can get down in that foam. I'll add some glue. let's do one more piece and see what it looks like. Off to this side over here, we've got a little hole. I'm gonna put it in there. I am squishing this bow all to pieces, so we're gonna have to fix that when we get done. So pretty. I think I want to add one more, like right behind the bow. I think it needs something right there. This is what's hard when designing with these little containers, is you run out of room after a while in there. Okay, I think we're good. Let me stick this bow back in there since I messed it up. And then I will turn it around and let you guys see. So super cute, just something I designed with some of my scraps. And it only took just a few minutes. So look at that. How cute is that? Hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time. Bye guys.